Welcome to the Aurasta channel. In this video, I will explain a new Donghua instead of Swallowed Star on Thursday. This Donghua is titled Shrouding the Heavens and will tell the story of dozens of people who are sent or separated into a world that is completely different from the world in modern times. During the course of the story, we will also be accompanied by a smart young man named Zhe Tian, who acts as the main protagonist and is also sent to this strange world later. Donghua itself was adapted from a Chinese novel entitled Zhe Tian by Chen Dong, in which Chen Dong also adapted several of his works to become Donghua, including Perfect World and Tomb of the Fallen Guard. So there's no need to doubt the story or how exciting it is. Before you watch, I also want to let you know that this is full of spoilers. So for those of you who don't like to be told, you can watch the original movie on the official website. So, let's not waste any more time and go right into the story. At the beginning of the story, we will be taken into outer space, where we will also be shown two astronauts who intend to start maintenance operations on a satellite that is currently experiencing a problem. The operations they are currently carrying out must be carried out with great care so that other obstacles do not occur that could add to their work. But in the midst of their operation, a strange phenomenon appeared. One of the astronauts saw the appearance of 9 dragons pulling a mysterious coffin, and the 9 dragons in front of the 2 astronauts are on their way towards the Earth. Then we will be taken to a world in a different place and time, exactly on a flat area in the sky called Huaxian Pool. There, we will also see a gold leaf floating in the air. Until finally, the gold leaf leads us to the place where the Huaxian pond that was mentioned before is. In the pool, there is a man tied to a chain who will be used as a sacrifice in a ritual to fix a high-level artifact. Here, the man's life energy is constantly being drained by a device called the Immortal furnace. After the furnace absorbs a lot of energy, in the end a crack in the hole in the wall of the furnace closes. Then we will go deeper into a palace, which is known to be the home of a person who plays a major role in the ritual that is being done, along with a bodyguard who told him and congratulated him because the repair period for the Immortal furnace was over. It is also known that the congratulations came from a person with the title of emperor named Yuhua. He is an emperor who is ambitious enough to want to reach the top of power in this land of immortals. The emperor and his predecessor gods are willing to sacrifice their lives just to repair the Immortal furnace, which can bring the emperor to the pinnacle of power and immortality. This was the moment the emperor had been waiting for. However, in the midst of all that, the emperor's palace hall suddenly received an attack. Numerous golden leaves burst into the palace and obliterated the emperor's guards until nothing remained. Of course, Emperor Yuhua, who witnessed the attack, did not remain silent. He tries to show off his strength by attacking the gold leaves. But the strength he has is still not strong enough to be able to eliminate the gold leaf, which causes Yuhua to be thrown towards his own throne. Until finally, the gold leaf started to change into a masked woman with a golden lotus flower underneath. Like Yuhua, this woman had the title of emperor, and her name was Ruthless Empress. If in the novel, it could be called Yanryu. Emperor Yuhua said that the Ruthless Emperor was there because she wanted to take the Immortal furnace from him. But unfortunately, that was wrong. Yanryu came to that place to get even. So, to solve this problem, there is no other way but to fight. In the end, the duel between the 2 people with the title of emperor could no longer be avoided. After several moments of clashing forces, Emperor Yuhua, who still couldn't land a fatal blow on Yanryu, finally unleashed an ultimate dragon myriad essence gathering attack. This is an attack that will bring out the figures of the dragons guarding Huaxian's column, where the dragons will continue to chase their targets until they die. Because she was constantly being chased by dragons, Yenryu was still trying to keep away from them. Until finally, the Empress unleashed a counterattack. This attack was also, at the same time, an execution attack on Emperor Yuhua, who had to stretch his life because he was unable to avoid the concentrated laser light that was stuck right in his heart. With Emperor Yuhua's death, Yenryu has reached her goal of getting revenge. From here, it is also clear that the reason Yenryu has been so angry for so long is because her brother died. When she was young, Yenryu's older brother was taken by Emperor Yuhua's bodyguards and made a sacrifice to fix a broken immortal furnace. Even though he didn't care about his own people, Emperor Yuhua didn't mind sacrificing the lives of many of them just to get what he wanted. After defeating Emperor Yuhua, Yenryu destroyed Huaxian's pool and the artifact Immortal Furnace, which were the biggest problems in his life. After destroying everything, Yenryu said she would always be in this world, waiting for his brother to be reincarnated. Even if she has to wait for hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years. The story continues in the modern world, and we meet the main character of this series right away. His name is Yi Fan. In his apartment, there are many books and awards on the shelves. This shows that Yi Fan is a man who has done a lot. Here, he is reading a history book about an ancient civilization that no longer exists. This gave him a new reason to be worried. Is it true that in the past, there was a civilization that disappeared? That's what he's thinking right now. The current rainy weather also coincided with the day of Yi Fan's school reunion. Because it was time to go, Yi Fan then went to the location where the event was held. When going to the location of the event, Yi Fan used his personal luxury Mercedes car. In the middle of his journey, a radio news message was heard that conveyed a warning that on that day there would be a thunderstorm because the rainfall that occurred was quite heavy. In urban areas alone, rainfall has reached more than 50 millimeters in just 1 hour. And it is estimated that the number will continue to increase over time. That's why the news announcer appealed to everyone to stay alert and protect themselves from heavy rain and strong winds. Because the weather that day was very bad. Until finally Yi Fan arrived at the location and immediately entered where his school reunion was being held. Not long ago, Yi Fan's old schoolmate, Zhang Wuchang, appeared. This bespectacled man was very amazed after seeing Yi Fan get out of a luxury Mercedes car. In the event, we will also be shown with 3 men. Here, 2 men named Li Chongqing and Chen Hong are trying to steal the attention of a man who seems to be quite wealthy, named Lu Yuji, whom they call Boss Liu, who is standing in the middle. Lu Yuji was then approached by a woman named Lin Jia, who invited him to simply toast the reunion. In the middle of what was happening, Yi Fan finally came. Here, Yi Fan is called the class president because at his school, he was the class president. His school friends called him by this name even now. Here, Lu Yuji makes fun of Yi Fan, who was once dumped by a very famous school flower named Li Xiaoman. Even though Yi Fan was insulted, he didn't care much about it. And not long after that, Zhang Wuchang, the man with glasses who had been in the parking lot earlier, showed up. After he got there, he immediately asked Yi Fan if the Mercedes car he had brought was his own. Before Yi Fan could answer, this arrogant man, Lu Yuji, also cut in. He thought that the luxury Mercedes car that Yi Fan brought was just a rental car. Because people often rent fancy cars to show off at reunions like this one. Even though Yi Fan was made fun of, he didn't do anything because he was a humble man. Then the school of flower that once caught Yi Fan's attention finally came. Here, Li Xiaoman brought a foreign partner named Cade. Seeing Cade, a Caucasian man who turned out to be quite proficient in using Chinese, Lu Yuji tried to get his attention by inviting him to sit with his circle mates. And the reunion continues.
有人，来，过来坐。
坐呀，班长。
We will then move on to outer space. The place where two astronauts who were doing their job were shocked by the appearance of 9 dragons carrying mysterious crates. After the 9 dragons passed them, unfortunately, the mysterious chest carried by the dragons hit the satellite that the 2 astronauts were stepping on until it shattered into pieces. Until they finally had to be thrown into outer space. While the 9 dragons are still continuing their journey to Earth. Meanwhile, in the middle of the reunion, a news broadcast sounded again when the province and the city issued a warning regarding the danger of rainstorms, which were increasing. And most likely, there will be extreme weather such as rainstorms accompanied by strong winds. That's why the local government expects all its citizens to immediately evacuate to a safe place. Examples include using high ground to protect themselves from flash floods that are likely to occur soon. Now that the rain was getting heavier, Joey suggested to his classmates that they leave early before it was too late. But Yi Fan didn't agree because cars weren't a safe vehicle for them right now. So they have to keep waiting there. On the advice given by Yi Fan, Lu Yuji insulted him again. He felt that Yi Fan did not want to go by using that car because the car that Yi Fan brought was a rental car. That's why Ye Fan didn't dare take it too far. Besides that, Lu Yuji also offered a ride to Miss Linjia to immediately evacuate using her car. Linjia also agreed to go with Lu Yuji. Besides Miss Linjia, he will also bring 3 other people who previously tried to steal the attention of this arrogant Liu boss. And Lu Yuji's group immediately left Yi Fan, while Yi Fan chose to stay behind for a while to monitor the situation.
走吧。
Some time has passed. And it's true, the car is not a safe vehicle in the current situation. The 5 people who had previously intended to evacuate were instead trapped in a pool of water that had begun to flood the city. The water-retaining embankment finally broke because it was not strong enough to withstand the excess water pressure. So that the natural disaster of flash floods heading into the city can no longer be avoided. This made the 5 people trapped in the car panic even more. In these crucial moments, a life-giving ship driven by Yi Fan appeared, who had brought several people with him to carry out the evacuation. When Yi Fan saw that the 5 people trapped were people he knew, he jumped into action and helped them all. He broke the front windshield of the car to get out, and then told everyone to quickly get on the ship that Yi Fan was driving. Lu Yuji, on the other hand, daydreamed and saw that his rescuer was someone he had previously looked down on. Strong winds and rainstorm eventually forming a sizable whirlpool tornado. And this is where Yi Fan's skills will be put to the test. After he tried to avoid every tornado that blocked his way. Unfortunately, because there were too many tornadoes, Yi Fan and his ship had to be swept away by the tornado's currents, which brought him higher and higher above the surface of the water. Of course, if this situation is left unchecked, then they will continue to climb higher until they finally free fall from a height. If that happened, then everything would definitely be over. Therefore, here, Yi Fan increased his speed to get out of the tornado before it was too late. It is true that they can now escape from the tornado vortex. But now the ship they are on is flying at high altitude without knowing where the ship will land. This made the situation even more tense, and everyone now could only continue to hold on to anything to avoid excessive shock when they landed later. The ship they were traveling on suddenly got stuck between the cliffs of the hill. But this unexpected event also saved them from the flash flood that has now submerged their hometown. Everyone then decided to keep climbing up the hill because they wanted to go somewhere safer and more comfortable. During the trip to the top, It was strange that they also didn't encounter any people evacuating there. Even though the place is on a high plateau, it should be suitable enough to be used as an evacuation location. Everyone's efforts were worth it because, in the end, they made it to the top simultaneously. Also seen is a fairly large building decorated with a beautiful view of the sky. This made even Cade wonder what this place really was. Explained by Li Xiaoman that the place is the peak of the Jade Emperor, which is on Mount Tai. But on the other hand, what they witnessed left some people feeling very astonished. Even though right below them was a pool of water, but why didn't anything happen around that area? Even the weather looks very normal. According to Yifan, this Tai Mountain is a very special place. Because of this place, the people often hold sacrificial ceremonies to get closer to the gods. Maybe this is the reason why the place can avoid disaster. At the same time, Yifan started to hear rumbling sounds coming from the sky, where the roaring is getting louder and louder. As everyone started paying attention to the direction where the sound was coming from, unexpectedly, they all saw that there were already many dragons flying in the sky. And again, the dragons were headed in the direction they were now. When Yifan first realized that this could be a very dangerous situation, he told all of his classmates to leave right away. And finally, bang! The scene then changed to show Yanryu's past or her childhood as the ruthless empress, who was trying to wake up her unconscious older brother while Imperial guards carried her away. Yanryu, who was thought to be getting in the way of the Imperial guards' work, was eventually treated very harshly, and they chose to kill the little girl. But just before Yanryu was about to be killed, a man dressed in white came to save her. This man was named Qindong. But Qindong himself had absolutely no qualms about cutting down all the Imperial bodyguards who had harmed the little girl he encountered. And finally, in the first episode, it's over. This Donghua is actually quite entertaining, so I highly recommend watching it. In that case, please watch for the next video and remember to like and subscribe to help this channel grow. Okay, goodbye, see you later.